early, early July 1969, and I visited the village off a Young Street. And there I was handed a rag, which was one of those papers that hippies passed around for free or for a dime. And I saw this incredible ad. I read every word in that piece of paper, and there was a big ad in it with the names of every group I liked and was curious about, from Creedence Clearwater Revival and Blood, Sweat and Tears, down to names like Santana that I hadn't heard of, and so many others, as you know. And of course Jimi Hendrix, which I came to the States to buy his poster and his records in the first place. So I said, I would love to get to this performance, although the chances are probably nil that at age 15 anyone will let me travel several hours away from where my parents were staying and go attend this performance. But sure enough, when I talked to my cousin about it, my cousin Marta, I learned that she was about to go there with her boyfriend, and that sure I could hitch a ride in their convertible Beetle, and that's what we did. We headed up there, and we spent the whole festival there. Of course, not together. I didn't disturb their privacy in the tent. I went hundreds of meters away to stay close to the stage and to follow the show. And that's what I did for 3.5 whole days. Okay, when do I start?
You're there already.
Okay, the experience at Woodstock, when I'm there alone, I'm facing a gigantic stage. Every 3-4 hours or 2-3 hours, the stage is rotating. So there's one band playing, one band unpacking, and another new band setting up on this 3-piece pizza. And then every so often the stage spins and you get a new show. So I was hooked on this whole thing. I wasn't going to budge. I occasionally moved a couple hundred yards forward or back to position myself better. Like, for example, if Joan Baez was playing and I wanted to see her fingers on the neck of the guitar, I moved to within 20 feet of where she stood. And when rock and when heavy loud music was playing, I could move a couple hundred 100 or 200 yards back. Oh, okay, so I'm there in the elements. It's sunny, it's rainy, it gets muddy, it dries up. Occasionally there isn't much to eat. Occasionally it's a long night, but there's music going through the night. There were 3 whole nights like this. But if a group like The Who comes on and plays for 4 hours, or Jimi Hendrix comes on, you don't really care about any of the other things. And I was just riveted until the whole thing was over. I was very excited by the musicians I mentioned, as well as some others that I hadn't heard before, like Alvin Lee, and so many others I can't even start, and also some that I figured out that I'm not crazy about. It was a fantastic musical experience and social experience too, because we all mixed together. People who were strange to each other, but sitting together for hours on end, suffering the same cold and heat and hunger or whatever, you bond. So while this thing was going on, it was a lot of fun and it was exciting. And I couldn't let go or go take a nap or any such thing. But I realized that only after the fact, weeks, months, days, only after the fact, when I realized how seriously the world took it, that I understand that I was lucky to be there in the first place, and that this was, to an extent, a historical event.
Was there one moment?
Was there one moment when I realized that it's historical? No. There were moments when I realized that it's great fun and that boy, am I glad and lucky to be here. But no, I couldn't. There were great musical moments for me. Lots of great musical moments for me. And
one example.
Jimi Hendrix. No, but that's the thing. You can't pick one. It was so rich and never ending.
How did Woodstock change your life?
It changed my life in a few ways. First of all, I defined myself. I realized today that I defined my life mission as the quest to find and see new music and experience new musicians and figure out what I like and what I don't like and what I want to play and what I don't want to play. That's one thing about my own passion. But there are also important things coming out where after the festival, I was interviewed by my high school newspaper. And some people, because they associated me with Woodstock, gave me a hard time over it, especially a couple of teachers. And it was simply that they couldn't separate the myths associated with the drug culture with the fact that Shay happened to visit there. And so I got a lot of pressure, and I learned how to live happily with not being in the mainstream and not being embraced by the powers that be, and that also has become a defining part of my life and my life's mission.